What's up, YouTube world? It's your boy J Dub, the #1 comment on YouTube, and I'm back with another review. Today I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight. This is season 14. They're in Boston this year, and what I said I was going to do as the beginning of the new year, I'm going to switch up the style of my reviews. I'm not going to go into great detail with the shows because really, especially with a show like Married at First Sight, this episode was for 3 hours. I had trouble enough going through 2 hours of Married at First Sight, so I'm so glad that I switched that up. So what I'll do in this format, I'll go from couple to couple and speak on them, give you my reactions and my predictions as far as what's going on with them. So we're gonna get right into it, and this is definitely one of those, even though all my videos go by my model of say what I say, this is definitely one because I got a lot to say about all these couples in the show. So before I said I really wasn't going to do Married at First Sight, even before the Houston episode, when we was dealing with Chris, and it just kind of threw me off from just reviewing it because I felt like Married at First Sight at this point was just focusing on the drama, and that's what they wanted, that's what they welcomed, that's what they needed. And my initial thing when I've been watching Married at First Sight for a very long time, I kind of I wanted them to really dive into the type of people that they select and see if they can put them together, and maybe they could really find love through an arranged marriage. But that's so far from what it is. It's all about the drama. And this season with Boston, it's going along the same format. It just looks like they're at this point now they're trauma bonding, or they're picking someone who will trigger someone's weaknesses, and we know all that's going to bring drama. So let's just get right into it. I'm just going to go couple by couple. The first couple I'm going to start out with is Christina and Large One. Now, Christina and Large One, as you see this picture, looks like a good looking couple. They don't look close or happy, because that body language is telling things. I look like, you could be holding hands with one of your classmates. But as far as Christina, with her looks, she gives me like a Sierra vibe with a wig that's way too much. But she took that wig off, put a smaller wig or a different type of hairstyle, it would change the game. Now, it doesn't take anything from a beauty, but that wig is overpowering. And as far as Christina, she's just like her husband. She's known for like the former party chick, but she's not that anymore, and that's what she's getting away from. And she's pretty much been single for 3 years because she's had that same story. Her heart's been used and abused by a man, and even when she tried to, try it over again, she found out the guy had a girlfriend for 9 years, and she's just getting tired of getting lied to. So she's an independent woman doing her own thing, and she feels like that's going to be like one of her obstacles in trying to make this work with Married at First Sight, because she's been so independent for so long. And really, she's saying I guess it's been difficult for her because she's really never witnessed a healthy relationship. So it's hers is more, like she said, touch and go. She doesn't know. She doesn't have a blueprint to follow to find out what a healthy relationship is. Now, a Large One, same thing. He says he's an ex-party boy or whatever. And when they introduced a Large One, it really came off like what he was saying, and then what they were showing were two different things. The words we were listening to, it was coming from like a very introspective guy who's done playing the field, and he sees he needs to make changes, and he's actually taking the time to do the work over a 2-year period. Sounds like pandemic time or whatever. Not that everybody took a break, but most people have, if they didn't already have a relationship, or the relationships they have been kind of dissolving a lot lately. So what he's saying is not really making up a lot. So I was thinking like, well, maybe he could change his ways, but when you see him, it's like, no, you can see there's no change in him. He got the 17-year-old hair, mohawk cut, everything he doing shirtless. He in the backyard, he working out, he going to the grocery store, washing the car, everything is shirtless. So you can see like that's what he's about. He's about, I guess, the look of it all, trying to be like some kind of sex symbol. And, you know, again, just I start calling Mr. Red Flag, because especially he let us know that he has been into using aliases for women, I guess, to stick and move and you know, do his one night thing and get out of there. And even his friends give him a nickname of the Facebook crook. So I guess that's how a part of he's picking up his women on dating apps or social media apps or whatever the case may be, and then he's out, especially given a fake name, and that says a lot about his character. And then going into, of course, like the trend of people they growing up with trauma and not having a healthy relationship. His father wasn't around. He claims he loves his mother so much and she's the love of his life, and she's so proud to be a mama's boy. But mama's face is blurred out. You know, only thing I can see, I could tell she's a fair-skinned woman, like she's a white woman. And I guess mama not going to be on the show, even though he's a mama's boy. And just the more you see him, a large one, the way when he talks, he's like, you know, this not gonna work for any and everybody. I don't care who he marries. And he's sitting with his family and friends and pretty much, you know, just saying like how much he admires everyone's relationship, and that brought him to this decision. And he's just so happy to do this because he's seen everybody else's happiness. And his sister-in-law asked him, well, you understand, you know, you make changes for yourself or whatever the case may be. What do you want out of a wife? Like, what's so important? What do you need from your wife? And he pretty much says one word: she has to cook. He needs a meal, a hot meal on the table every day. He don't want to be wondering about what he gonna eat or digging through cans and planning meals or whatever on the go. He wants a hot meal every day when he comes home, because according to Elijah One, he is a traditional man. And the funny thing is that this guy is like so traditional. He wants a hot meal on the table. He wants a traditional woman, but he also wants a wife that wants to go to the strip club. You know, those don't usually come together. You know, people can have different personalities, but you want a housewife that want to go to the strip club. So I gotta say housewife, because your wife can't be working a job every single day and you demand a hot meal on the table every single night. I know he can't be that unrealistic, or maybe he can, because, you know, it doesn't even say like what he does. Is he able to provide that traditional lifestyle, is, you know, what he requests? And you could just see the guy's pretty much, he's just like, he's low on character. I mean, even like fast forwarded to when they was having the bachelor party, the man that got up on stage with the stripper and he's stripping. And I'm thinking like, you know, are they paying you to strip for the show or whatever? You know, he got to have his shirt off, whatever he do, he rubbing and all up on the stripper and like that. And that just reminds me of people who are in those mindsets of where like, it's no harm. The guy's just having fun. He's just cutting loose before his wedding day. You know, those are the same type of people. It could be men or women who will actually have a wild night, maybe even have sex with the stripper and then marry you 12 hours later. You know, most people aren't in agreement with that, because it's just the opposite of what the bad advice one of his friends gave at the cookout was like, oh, well, you're not supposed to look for a wife. You know, you just happen to run up on you and it just happens and there it goes. And that's the worst advice that anyone can give. It's the exact opposite. You should be preparing your life for a wife and not just haphazardly walk up on her and then and say, I'm ready to settle down. That's really not how it works in order for it to be successful. So as you can see, off the break, it's just problematic. Katina has infidelity issues, and this guy is a serial cheater. And I can't really call him a serial cheater. He's on some other level. He ain't even about the relationship. He about giving you fake names and no telling who he's encountered or how many women he's encountered with his aliases and all of that. So again, this is not a good match. Aesthetically, yeah, they look good together, but as far as them being together, um, I don't think so much because I just don't see that he has that player he says that's out of him. I don't believe that. I'm thinking like he needs to he needs a couple of more years. So we'll go to the next couple. We're dealing with Lindsey and Mark, aka Mark the Shark. Now, Mark and Lindsey, they were pretty much put together because they was said to have like both have high energy and pretty much they have great love for cats. And you know, I kind of disagree with that. Where it's like it's kind of hard to have someone just like you. In some ways, you need to kind of balance each other out, and I just don't think it's a good fit off the top. And pretty much Lindsay's story, pretty much what she said about a year ago, she was 5 days away from getting married. And her fiance at the time just called it off. And we're talking like a year's time. And so if a year from that time, she's getting married, that's just like a big step. We can almost assume that she hasn't done the work to even begin to heal. And that's what I'm saying. Married at First Sight stayed playing with us. I mean, the lady was practically married. And so a year later, now she's ready to remarry again without even meeting her spouse at all. And that's just a recipe for disaster. And now, not only that, Lindsey also has like mother issues, those mommy issues where her mother doesn't really care to have a relationship with her at all. She says she won't pick up her call. She'll only text. And she just doesn't seem to be interested in the relationships, especially after her father and her mother divorced. It just wasn't there. It more so seems like her mother has a relationship with her brother, but not so much with her. And as far as her counsel is her brother and father. And out of the Married at First Sight, they were like some of the realest points. Like they were, you know, of course they were happy for Lindsey that found out she was getting married, but they really put it on the line was saying like her father said, well, hey, you know, that marriage, that's going to be a kind of a tough thing because like you're a person who you react instead of respond. And, you know, your personality isn't really fitting of like being a wife. And she pretty much doesn't have a filter. So just her saying anything is just going to tear the marriage up. And she pretty much like, yeah, just shaking her head. And that's like, oh, I'm going to work on it or change that. And that's always problematic when people, let's say they have flaws, and especially if they're aware of it. And then they're like, oh, yeah, like, you know, like your behaviors or just the way you are is destructive in a relationship. So why would you continue with those behaviors without like trying to make a change? You know, just saying that's just the way I am, that don't cut it. And that comes from a real selfish standpoint when you're trying to be or wanting to be in a relationship. And as far as what they said, the filter, like throughout the episode, you really see like that filter isn't there. She says like anything that she wants on her mind. It just get crazier and crazy and crazy. So it's going to be kind of like, it's going to be like a fun show just watching the disasters that's going to come out of her mouth. And she pretty much reminds me of like, looks like she doesn't mind, what do you call? She enjoys the drink. And who we get from the previous season is Virginia. So it's like an older Virginia. Virginia was young. So you can say, oh, she was in her 20s, you know, Lindsey's in her 30s. So that's what it looks like if it continues. But I would say Virginia looks just as old as Lindsey, but it'll catch up with her. So we go with you know, Mark the Shark. And why we call Mark the Shark? Because his friends gave him that name because he felt like he was a go-getter, and anything he wanted, he pretty much hunted down. And all you see on Mark is just eyes and lurking eyes and teeth, and that's exactly what a shark is. I don't know if they did that. I mean, you know, put that name on him just for him hunting, because he actually looks like a shark, and that's real. And that's a very fitting name. And again, we go with more tragedy. When Mark was young, his father died, and his mother and his grandmother are pretty much in a nursing home, and he's their like primary caretaker, and that's a concern for him. That could be a concern, like entering a new marriage and you still have these responsibilities, almost like you're married to taking care of your mother and your grandmother. And, you know, that may come up, but Mark's pretty much saying like, that's really not his concern. He got to do what he got to do. And, you know, that could really be tough. And looking at them, I just think those energies are just too powerful. They're not balancing out. They're just going to be like bumping heads or whatever the case may be. Or like Lindsey's brother and father said, it's like her energy is just, she's going to overtake him. And that's what I believe was going to happen. She's going to be too much for Mark the Shark. You know, he's looking for Mrs. Shark and making baby sharks, but I don't think Lindsey is the right one. He seems very optimistic, but I don't think that's a good fit. And again, it's normal at this point to say like, okay, now they just don't even have good fits anymore, because no, they don't want people to win. They want somebody who's going to give them the drama, and that's exactly what I thought we weren't looking for. We were looking for people who want to be together, who want to be married, and that's not what we're getting here. So they're definitely not going to make it. It's just, they're going to be like they're going to be our entertainment couple, because Lindsey, she's on another level. It get worse and worse. So as far as the next couple, we have Noy and Steve. Noy and Steve, they're like the quiet couple, and that's actually Noy's nickname. She's quietly noisy, and they don't mean like in noisy, because noisy is Noy's alter ego. She's like, in public, she's quiet, she's laid back, but her alter ego, Noisy, is like a party animal, loves to dance, put the dresses on, the wigs, and all that kind of stuff. It's just going to be, I would say her alter ego is not as bad as a large one, as Isaac, whatever, because she's not being deceptive. She's like kind of coming out of her shell, or she just doesn't. She's not going to give you Noisy up front. She got to get to know you, or she got to warm up a little bit. So it's going to be interesting, because what they say, you always got to watch the quiet ones, and she's that. And pretty much Noy Love's Life was dealing with traveling internationally, and she got her heart broken a couple of times in different countries. So that's why she's looking to do something different. And we learned on her backstory, she came from very humble beginnings. Her family was pretty much in like a refugee camp. And when she was young, they didn't have much. They just all lived in pretty much a 1-bedroom apartment all together, a large family. So it's just going to be interesting, especially dealing with her hidden personality and how she views money. That would be good. So speaking of money, her husband, Steve, he's supposed to be the free spirit. And right off the bat, married at first sight, they want to play with us. They love to play with us. I mean, they're going on a new low. You know, usually they'll hide stuff like this, but right off the break, we learned Steve is married, was getting ready to get married, but he's been laid off. He was like some type of software executive, and for him, when he got laid off, he just said he took a road trip, and pretty much he took a road trip down the East Coast, because he said he didn't want to stay in Boston for another winter. So he got in his RAV4 and went on down like to Florida, but saying like he did an adventure, but he lived in his RAV4. That's not an adventure. The man, like, he was trying to find himself or trying to recover from dealing with losing his job, but he still didn't have no money. And I'm like, how in the world they're gonna match somebody and they're not working? And I mean, like, if he's living in his RAV4, he's not wealthy. So that's going to be a successful. You already got an obstacle. You got a husband that's not working. We know, let's say Married at First Sight pays the bills or whatever the case may be. But how long can that sustain? You know, while she's going to work and he's just at home, I don't know what he's doing or what he would be doing. And, you know, even his family, they were supportive of the process. However, they seemed concerned about that he didn't have a job. I mean, it's like his sister pretty much said, like, I think your wife's going to want you to have a job. I mean, in plain and simple, that's absolutely correct. Some type of job, doing something, being productive, bringing some type of income coming in. Why is that so hard? Why is that so difficult? But Married at First Sight knew what they was doing. Again, I have to not be invested so much and understand that this is entertainment. They have no intentions for Steve and Noi to really make it, because that's not what it's about. Now, again, it was something interesting that Steve had going on. If he had a job, this could really work, because he comes from a family that believes in arranged marriages. There's several people in his family that have successful arranged marriage, because this is what Married at First Sight is, an arranged marriage with the experts picking your spouse for you, and you just see like how it goes. So I can't get past not having a job. I mean, it's that serious, you know. Come on now. So I can't even entertain it. So we're going into the next couple. We dealing with Michael and Jasmina. Michael and Jasmina, you know, Married at First Sight, they're doing it again. So, you know, even before I go any further, we're gonna get into Michael. You know, off the break, what you see in Michael, all you see is his head. Like, it's a solution to it too. Just his somebody. I can't blame. I can't say his parents, his mom, or the doctor. Somebody, they forgot to do this to his head when he was a baby. You gotta shape your head. You gotta shape it. It's just long. It's long. A long head on a little man. And again, Michael is he's no stranger to tragedy. He might have the most tragic story. He's had like a lot of loss. And what I'm saying, people have losses in their lives. It is common. If people don't know it, they don't talk about it. If you live long enough, you're going to lose something or lose someone in your life. But as a young person, he's lost his father. He's lost his brother to gun violence. At 20, he lost his mother to breast cancer. And I later found out he lost his grandmother. I mean, he's just lost it. So it's more so like him and his sisters. And yeah, that's the thing too. Like, so all those losses are definitely going to shape him and shape his attitude. And to me, what I noticed about him being around like a whole bunch of sisters now, he does have another brother, but they just show his sisters initially. And really what's concerning, like you can see that Michael has like anxiety built up, like about everything. And he pretty much knows and says that, hey, like, I'm probably going to self-sabotage this relationship because I'm going to nitpick the person. The person can be so wonderful in everything, but I'm going to find that one little thing that's wrong with him and say, hey, I know that now I see why this wasn't worth it. And just going into and knowing that he's absolutely not ready for marriage. The man needs to be working on his healing. And he actually did call his brother to let him know that he was getting married. And his brother pretty much said what he was concerned about was him being able to compromise, because he's never seen that from him. You know, Michael says, yeah, I'm ready to get married. But as his brother said, I've never even seen you come in that mindset of being a person who compromises, which is required in a successful marriage. And Michael's saying that's pretty much what he's going to struggle with. So we already see that's a troubled marriage. Now, getting to his wife, Jasmina. Now, again, Married at First Sight, love playing with us, playing with Jasmina. Now, so they're going to put 5'4" Michael with a Caribbean Amazonian goddess in Jasmina. And knowing that I'm no fortune teller, but I can almost assure you, wherever it goes down, Jasmina's not going to be happy with her new husband. You know why? Because they didn't want Jasmina to be happy with her husband. That's the way they set it up. Married at first sight. I would rather you go ahead and put Isaac and the Large One over there with her or something. Maybe she would be more attracted. Maybe he sees her and changes his mind. But there's no hope for Elijah One or Isaac either. But anyway, I would say, like, she's, as they said, she's a pretty much, they call her Miss No Nonsense. Because after seeing, like, you know, she's dealt with her trouble with, you know, the men that she was dealing with, they pretty much cheated on her, did her wrong. You know, I'm not sure was it her or, but I'm gonna say it's her. The guy she was dealing with had a baby on her. You know, she was with him, and, you know, hey, oops, surprise, we got a baby. And, you know, she said she moved on for that, but she has such a tragic story as well. Like, let's call it trauma bonding. When she was like 2 years old, her birth mother abandoned her and her sister, left her, and she stayed with her father. Her father then remarried and had married a wonderful woman named Kimberly, and even they got a divorce too. So now her father, what I would call, abandoned them while they were children and went back to Jamaica. So Kimberly, her stepmother, which was a real mother, adopted her and her sister and kept her. And I thought that was really a good story, that, you know, even after divorce, her stepmother would step up to become her mother totally. And, you know, that's something good in it. But, you know, by her mother and her birth mother and birth father abandoning her, you know, she's going to have some trauma there and some type of abandonment issues. It's going to be natural, you know, and I get that. But again, as she said, Jasmina says that she's never seen a healthy relationship, and rightfully so. So, like, what does that look like, or how is she supposed to be? Because even her, she has 8 brothers and sisters, and she doesn't even know all of them, and all of those things just balled up trauma that is going to affect her life. And she said one of her concerns was that, hey, she's never even lived with a man, which that isn't strange as a grown woman, because she's never been married or I don't know, engaged or what have you. That's going to be a huge adjustment, because now she's going from being by herself to always being in a living space or quarters with the head detective, Michael. So we know that's going to be pretty tough to get through. So that's going to be fun. I just wonder I want to see what she sees or how she reacts on the wedding day, because she should be upset just like I am. But I'm not upset. I'm like, oh, okay. They got us good on this one. They got us good, because she's going to be surprised. So the last couple, which is so boring, I'm going to skim through them, but I'm going to give it to you anyway, which is Alyssa and Chris. And Alyssa and Chris, they look like a nice looking couple. They actually look like brother and sister to me, that they look so much alike. So Alyssa, she's a animal rescuer. She takes animals in her home, and then she gets them out, like, to, I guess she's like a foster parent to animals, and finds good homes for them. So she's pretty much said she's been unlucky in love. She had a situation where she was with her guy for maybe 2.5 years, and then they went to look at rings, and then one day he came over dinner and said, hey, don't finish dinner, we're breaking up. Just like that. Ain't give her a reason or nothing. And yeah, that's going to change a person, because she was with somebody and then they just changed their mind on her without even knowing. Chris, he's a realtor, and he's going to get added to my list too of things a husband does that shows you he's not going to make a good husband. Chris' main hobby, he plays disc golf. Pretty much, he throws a frisbee into the woods. And if your husband plays with frisbee on the weekend, that's not the right husband for you, ladies. So pretty much, he's saying that he's been unlucky in love because he's pretty much trying to find his best friend. And really, that could be kind of problematic, because a person searching for a best friend in a stranger, that's going to be really difficult. So as far as I said, the season isn't giving what I originally thought the Married at First Sight is what it should be, but we know they just playing with us. So in turn, we just gonna see what happened. And I don't see any matches here, maybe one possible, but other than that, that was about the best I could do. So again, I thank y'all for being here with me, rocking with J Dub. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, in YouTube world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that, and I really mean it.